Hello and welcome to FED Learning. Angular 19 has arrived and this video covers the linked signal function, a game-changing feature that simplifies signal management by making them writable and automatically updated. So first, let's talk on evolution of signals. Signals were first introduced in Angular 16 in developer preview, but support for many features was limited. For example, signals could not be used as inputs to components. Next, signals become stable in Angular 17 and Angular 18 further improved signal stability. Additionally, it introduced zoneless change detection with signals, offering a more effective and lightweight approach to detecting changes. And Angular 19 introduced a new concept in developer preview called linked signal. So now let's understand the implementation variants of linked signal. Linked signal supports two implementation variants. First, linked signal with shorthand syntax, and second, linked signal with source and computation. So let's start with simple example to understand this syntax and then we will move forward. I am inside Angular 19 project. Here I am going to create a new component with name link and generate component name link. And I assume you are familiar with Angular 18 signals. There are two types, writable signals and computed signals. And apart from computed signal, now Angular has introduced a new feature called linked signal for defining signals that depends on other signal. So here you can see link component has been successfully created. Now I'll add the selector of this link component to the app component.html file app link, and additionally I need to import the link component inside imports array of app.component.ts file. Now let me run this project with command ngs. Now let me open browser on localhost 4200, and here we can see the link component changes in the browser. Now let's start the actual coding. Let me open link signal html file and .ts file, and let me close the remaining files. Now inside this links component.ts file, here I'll create a writable signal named current email with an initial value of an object containing ID and name properties equals to signal, which is imported from Angular/core package. And next I'll create a computed signal named alternate email. And this signal returns a string representing an email address. Computed arrow function, and here I'll use string literals dollar inside curly bracket this dot current email dot name @gmail.com. And now inside HTML file I want to display the value of alternate email signal when the button is clicked. And to achieve this, here I'll create one button with label alternate email address, and I'll add a click event that calls a alternate email ID function. After that, inside paragraph tag, I'll display the text email address followed by the value of alternate email signal using a string interpolation and invoking the signal as a function. And here I want to use a line attribute center. And I need to define this alternate email ID function inside TS file. And in this function, I'll set different values to current email signal using the .set method. Current email .set and then object ID equals to 2, comma name equals to FED Learning. Now I'll save the changes and let's observe the update in the browser. Now here you can see on page load. Let me add the B tag to this alternate email. Now you can see on page load the email address is fed@gmail.com, and when I click on this alternate email address button, you can see that the email address changes to fedlearning@gmail.com. So our code is working as expected with writable and computed signal. Okay, let me correct the spelling of alternate ALTER. And let me go back to .ts file. And now, since computed signals are read-only, we cannot directly set the value to it, unlike writable signal. And to overcome this restriction, we can use linked signal, which is available in two forms: linked signal with shorthand syntax and linked signal with source and computation. So first, let's understand linked signal with shorthand syntax. And for that, we simply need to replace the computed with linked signal, which is imported from Angular/core. That's it. Now, it's officially a linked signal, not a computed signal. Let's verify in the browser to ensure the functionality is still working as expected. I'll click on this alternate email address button, and you can see that email address is changing to fadlearning@gmail.com. Now let's explore the next syntax of linked signal with source and computation. I'll just comment out this line and let me refactor this linked signal with source and computation configuration. So now the link signal function requires an object with two properties, source and computation, and to pass the expected values. Instead of this, I'll create an object inside the link signal with property source and computation. Now this source property identifies the dependency signal. So in this case, linked signal depends on writable signal, that is current email. And the computation property defines the computation function that will be executed when this source value or the current email value changes. So here I'll use the same logic as before. Okay. So how does it work now? When the current email value changes, the linked signal detects the update and the computation function is then executed and displaying the email address with new current email value. And the results become the new value of alternate email. Now let's check the output in the browser. Let me click on this alternate email address button and you can see the alternate email address on the browser, that is fadlearning@gmail.com. Okay. Now linked signal uses one more property called equal, and this property is used to specify a custom equality function for comparing values. Equal colon. So here we need to provide the a and b value, a of type any, comma, b of type any. And it is similar to a sort function in JavaScript, arrow function. Then we need to match a.id triple equals to b.id to determine whether the two values are equal. So in this case, we can check whether the ID properties of two objects A and B are equal. And here you can see that our first object ID is 1 and second object ID is 2. It means our IDs are different. And if the ID properties are not equal, this function returns false, indicating that the values are not equal. And if this equal function returns false, the alternate email value will not get updated in the browser. Now save the changes and go to the browser. And here you can see that on click of this button, the alternate email address is not updating. And if I change the condition to not equal to, now in this case, this equal function returns true. And if this function returns true, the alternate email value will get updated in the browser. Now let's check in the browser. Click on this alternate email address button. And this time we can see the updated email address in the browser, that is fadlearning@gmail.com. So this equal property allows us to provide a custom function that takes two values as arguments and returns a boolean indicating whether they are equal or not. Okay, so this is the example of linked signal with source and computation configuration. And this is the example of linked signal with shorthand syntax. Now I'll go back to PPT and let me read the definition of shorthand syntax. This provides a simplified syntax for creating linked signals, making your code more concise and easier to maintain. And the definition of linked signal with source and computation is: this allows us to define a source signal and a computation function to determine the updated value of linked signal. Now last, let's talk on other signals versus linked signal. And this signal and computed signal come under the category of other signals. So signal is a function from @Angular/core module that creates a signal. And it is a value that can change and notify others similar to observables. And what is computed signal? This is also a function that creates a computed signal, and computed signals are read-only signals that automatically update based on other changing values. And what is mean by linked signal? A linked signal is a writable signal that updates when the value of associated signal changes. Okay, so that's all for linked signal. And kindly note that this linked signal API is still in developer preview, but it might change before it is stable. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to FED Learning for quick and easy learning. Bye bye.